Hey YouTube, happy Wednesday, February 3rd. We've got January over and done with, and now we're already into Feb. Feb, shortest month of the year. And as a landlord, I always kind of think of different things, right? So February, someone's getting a apartment for what, like 2 or 3 days less of the month, but then I guess it makes up for it in July and August, right? When there's 31 days in the month. Um, yeah, I don't know why I'm saying that, but that's something I think about sometimes. It's such a short month. So today we're going to do a little bit different. The show today, we're going to have, well, Christian's always here, but Christian's going to be more interactive with us. I don't have Mel with me, so I'm hanging out with Christianato here. Hey, Brian, happy Wednesday to you as well. Yeah, so I'm hanging out with Christian here, and we're going to be chatting about some stuff. I'll be answering and doing some Q&A with you guys live on YouTube. So if you have questions, start putting them in there. And the other thing as well is we're going to be talking about, what are the three things we're talking about, Christian?
Talking about stocks, what's happening with the stock market right now, cryptocurrency, and of course, real estate.
Okay, awesome. So those three things, right? Stocks, cryptocurrency, and real estate. I don't know if they'll be able to hear you, Christian. To be honest with you, I don't know if they'll be able to hear you as well.
Not well.
What if you, just so that way YouTube can hear you?
Sure.
Oh, I think that's the police department calling me about one of the disturbances. Should I take it live?
That's up to you.
Probably not. I'll let the team deal with it. But yeah, no, we have a squatting situation in a building. So I won't say which building, I won't say which tenant to keep privacy, but yeah, we have a squatting situation, so the police are now calling me. But yeah. So let's get into it. Let's start talking about, what was it again? Stocks, crypto, and real estate. Christian, what do we want to start off with the stocks? What do we want to start get into with that? There's so much talk about with the stocks. You and I were just doing a YouTube video, actually. There's so many things we could go over on this.
Well, to me, like, there is only one thing to talk about right now, and it's Robinhood and Reddit. It's insane. All these day traders and just regular people who have normal day jobs decide to get an app and start buying stocks and totally messing up hedge funds.
I know it's so like, and I've been kind of reading different things about it, and like just the fact that they could all kind of get together and flip it over, right? Those hedge fund managers. And there's a couple of things I want to touch on that. Yeah, so they've actually done it, right? They've upped the price of the stock so that they can't short it, right? So they're going to make some money. But there's a couple of cool things, and I know people are already talking about GameStop and all that, but let's touch on a few things that you and I were talking off air, Christian, is just the fact that, so Robinhood is a free app, right? I guess it was free, I don't know anymore, but it's a free app where day traders could do that, right? They could trade for free.
Yes.
So like you and I, Christian, if we wanted to buy stocks, we would go on Robinhood, and I could buy a stock and they wouldn't charge me?
I mean, no, I don't think so. I don't think they charge any price to buy these stocks.
Yeah, like I don't think they like a fee or whatever to actually do it, right? Mark Cuban joined Wall Street Bets.
No, he did he?
Please verify that, Christian. Before, yeah.
No fee to execute trades, right? It's
Okay,
free.
so yeah, no fee to do it, right? For the day traders. So what I was listening to last night was these day traders don't have to pay anything, okay, but they're still continuing to buy GameStop. Or they were, whatever at the time, right? So they were paying nothing in fees to buy GameStop. And GameStop, again, those Wall Street hedge funds had shorted it, so they wanted it to go down. But as people kept buying it, it kept going up, obviously, right? And then the hedge fund, and this, again, I'm just going by what the sources I've had is, so the hedge funds were saying, wait a minute. We're the ones who actually pay you the fees so that you can provide a service to everyone for free. So we're the ones actually paying the fee to Robinhood so they can operate. But then Robinhood is allowing all these people to go on and buy GameStop, which is in turn hurting the hedge fund. So it was just like it's almost like a love triangle gone bad, right? Like it's just.
It also makes you think though, why would they put any stock in the Robinhood? Did they think they were going to game the millions of people trying to use it?
Yeah.
Because they want to make money, obviously, and it was a free app to use. They think they're just going to take. Yeah, I don't know.
I really don't know either.
Also, Mark Cuban thanks Wall Street Bets for taking on Wall Street.
So it is true?
I don't know if he is a member of Wall Street Bets. It's not hard to subscribe, I guess. But he said, "Hold on if you can afford to." He's encouraging this. He likes it.
So Mark Cuban wants the people that bought GameStop to keep holding on to it, to keep that. Is that what they're saying?
He wants them to hold on to it. And
They sell traders' data. Who does? Wall Street or
Robinhood. Oh, that makes sense. That's where you make a lot of money. That's why a lot of free apps like Facebook sells your data, and that's what makes them money.
Oh, that makes sense. Nothing's free, right?
Nothing's free.
So come do all your stock trading on us. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't know why we didn't go right down that rabbit hole right away, right?
I didn't even think of it, but yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
So, and what I was listening to again yesterday was, is that they were saying, like, we just saw a massive short, the squeeze, or the squeeze out, or I think is what they call it, Christian? Short squeeze, okay? So the short squeeze, and and that's what they're doing. But they're saying that now silver is going to be even bigger, and that's what, again, I'm not a gold guy. I don't really get into it. The way I look at silver and gold is it's more like apocalypse type stuff, where like you buy it, and then let's say if the world collapses or the currency collapses, then that's when I'd like to have gold and silver. But that's just my opinion. I wouldn't buy it to like make money type thing. But again, just my opinion. But they were saying that J.P. Morgan is basically, yeah, if you can look it up, Christian, they're trying to keep the price of silver low. So they're trying to, I don't know if it's really shorting it, but they're trying to keep it low for some specific reason so they can control it. And again, I'm not a gold or a silver person, but they were saying that, and the way I kind of understood it was that you buy an order. So let's say if I go buy silver, I'm buying an order of, I don't know, like 5,000, 10,000 ounces, and someone says, but I only want to buy a percentage of it. So I want to buy 1% of 5,000 ounces. And they say, yeah, okay, you buy it. But I guess the thing that they never really do is they never actually fill those orders. But then if I say, hey, I give all the money and I want my order completely filled, is they don't even think that people will actually be able to fill those orders, Christian. And then they were saying that, like, let's say I buy 1% of a 5,000 ounce order. And then you think, okay, Dave's just going to keep buying, another percent. I don't really necessarily need to fill this order. But then what if I say, hey, here's all the money I want my order. I want 5,000 ounces of silver. Well, then you're like, oh, he's actually serious. Okay, now I got to go buy this silver. But then if you're actually buying it, you're going to be paying a lot more money to fill the. It was just like this crazy rabbit hole of just doesn't make sense to me.
On here it says J.P. Morgan's shorting it.
Yeah, they're shorting it.
And this guy was saying, according to SF Gate,
okay,
J.P. Morgan holds a giant short position in silver. Furthermore, some observers are accusing the bank of acting as an agent for the Federal Reserve in the market, i.e., a lowering silver price helps maintain the relative appeal of the U.S. dollar. Wow.
I know, it's so, hey, Yonu, it's just so ridiculous what's going on with all this shorting now. Like that, and they're saying this silver thing is going to be even bigger. Like I know, it's just it's outlandish what's happening. Hey, Jacob, how's it going? If you guys have any real estate questions, or if you guys want to talk about the stock market or crypto, we're going to talk about crypto in a bit too. I've got my Bitcoin open all the time. But I just got a notification, Christian, and I don't know if I want to get into it or not, but it said something that Canada just labeled something as a terrorist group or something.
I saw something on CBC saying they were going to release something today, putting more groups into terrorists, but I'll look it up right now.
Yeah, and I don't know if we want to dive in. Anyway, just maybe something we can talk about after. I just wanted to make you aware of it. But yeah, today we're talking about stocks, we're talking about crypto, and real estate investing, and obviously, real estate, and how this affects everyone as real estate investors, right? Like I'm looking here, and if you guys have stock, Jacob, what deal would you suggest for a first deal? Jacob, what I would suggest, to be honest with you, like let's say if I had to start over and I was going to buy my first property, I would buy something that has 2 doors or more. So I would buy at least a duplex, and I would try and get some seller financing, or if I couldn't do that, I would only have to put 5% down because my principal residence. Yeah. So yeah, I would only put 5% down because it's my principal residence, and then I would move into it. And I only put $5,000 now. It's an income property, so I would live in one unit. The person beside me would be paying most of the bills, right? And that's how I would get started off. Duplex with legal basement suites. Yeah, that as well, right? So I would do something like that, but I would definitely do more than one door. I would owner occupy to get a very low down payment, and I would still try and fund that through other people's money. But I would do that, Jacob. And then when you're ready to move, boom, you've got an income property now that you only paid 5% down on. Like that's, and as a real estate investor, when you buy multiple deals in multiple buildings, you'll appreciate the fact that, hey, I was able to get one with 5%, right? Now we're putting 25% down on these buildings, right? But yeah, Kevin, yeah, duplex with legal basement. Yeah, I like that suggestion as well, Kevin. So yeah, guys, any questions, stocks, cryptos? Again, I'm not an expert on the stocks and the cryptos. I'm a real estate guy. But Christian and I are following what's going on. We do have some Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is up today. What is it up to? It's up 5.65%. Now again, where's Dogecoin? Because I know people, Dogecoin's only up 3% today, or 3.4. That's smart. Yeah, Jacob, honestly, do it, right? And again, the deal has to make sense, but you're in a great position. Buy a duplex. Have the tenants pay for most of your expenses, right? You're going to be living very, very, well, maybe not rent-free, but you'll be living very cheaply, right? Because they're going to be paying most of the mortgage, and it's just going to help you. And sorry, I know we talked about crypto, but Jacob, I want to like compound on your situation because I'm live on TikTok and I get it all the time as people, as a 16-year-old, as a 17-year-old, as a 20-year-old, what should I do? So let's take that scenario, Jacob, and I don't know how old you are and it doesn't matter, but you bought a duplex, okay? Let's say you bought a duplex now. You're into it. The other tenant is paying most of your bills. So you're living very, very cheaply. Now, let's say you had that car payment. Maybe you put that extra money, boom, because cars are bad debt, right? And most of the time, I know someone will say, Dave, I know people that buy Ferraris and they actually flip them. Okay, we're not talking about those because people do that, right?
Yeah, but another thing is people like want to buy new cars. Say like they're going to be a classic. It's like you have no idea if that car is going to be a classic.
I agree.
In 20 years.
I agree. It's speculation, but yeah. So to compound on your situation, Jacob, or this example that we're going down is that money that you're now not having to pay to live every month in a rent or a mortgage, you can now put that on your bad debt. So get rid of your bad debt, right? Your cars are terrible. They're bad debt. Get rid of that. Get rid of anything else. If you have student loans, if you took out credit cards, all that stuff, pay all of that with the money. And I'm kind of going Dave Ramsey here, but then Dave Ramsey wants you to keep doing that, okay? And we actually have a YouTube video about that. But once you've done that, Jacob, now your ratios are going to be awesome at the bank, right? You're going to go to financial institutions and you're going to want to finance deals. And because you don't have all that other bad debt and you already have that income property, they don't have any reason to say no, right? So that's what Mel and I did is we bought properties, then boom, we paid off all our quote unquote bad debt. And then we just kept bringing deals to them and they couldn't say no because the ratios made sense. And in Canada, that's your total debt service ratio. And in the States, it's DTI, your debt to income ratio. So you're just going to be feeding the institutions what they want, right? Jacob, that's smart. Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to hop on that scenario. New builds, do you find those more difficult to repay or that it may just take longer to? Alan, it depends. So I see that in two scenarios. I typically don't buy new builds because I can't necessarily get the lift. So let's say if I bought a brand new triplex and all the renovations were done and I right away get the market rents, well, how am I going to make that building better in order to build the value up, refinance, and pay everyone? So that I don't really do. I buy the buildings that need renovations, right? That's kind of what we do. Christian hears us talk about all the time, right? Renovations and repositioning. So I get the expenses down, get the rents up, and that's how I bring the value. But with new builds, that's hard, Alan. The other thing in new builds, though, is we have mentees doing this across North America. Let's say you're in a hot market, right? Let's say I think you're Canadian, so I'll talk to that. Let's say you're in Vancouver. Let's say you're in Toronto, whatever it is. Buy a pre-built condo, right? It doesn't even, you're buying air. You're buying a space in the sky. It doesn't even exist yet. You had said if you were moving to the big city, you were looking at doing something like that, eh, Christian?
We talked about it last time a little bit. I think we were talking about not buying houses.
Yeah.
We were just talking about buying condos.
But you were saying that you had looked at it and it was like basically a shoebox and you had to pay like $2,000 a month for rent, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's expensive. But what I was going to say is, and today we're being more interactive. Christian and I, Mel's not here, so it's kind of the Christian and Dave show. But you could buy a condo, and they allow you to just put money towards it every 6 months. So you could really go with not that much money into it. And then after that, a year down the road, you could sell it to someone else or sell it to someone else. and then it's going to be worth more, right? They just keep increasing. So, and I know I went over that quickly, and there's a lot of ins and outs. It's not as simple as I just made it sound, but I know people that make good money with that. Cody Allen, Cody Allen. That's actually a guy I went to high school with. He's like he does singing, or he's like a singer or whatever. He's in a band. Thoughts on inflated home prices in Northern Ontario due to real estate holding offers make it tough for first-time buyers. Thoughts on inflated home prices in Northern Ontario? Yeah, Cody, honestly, if you think they're inflated here, and yes, they are going up, but think of like the hotter markets, right? Southern Ontario, GTA, those markets are just, well, what was the ratio, Christian?
Or
Like it was something like Canada is going up 13%,
Yeah.
but Ontario alone is going up like 16% or something, eh?
Yeah. It's insane. Like the prices are
Yeah.
so inflated that
Yeah.
it has to come down at some point.
Well, and that's the thing. So, where was it? Cody, the Mazda man, it's everywhere. So you're not really going to escape it. Brian, any tips for Canadians buying in the U.S.? And Brian, you're part of the Action family. So let's talk about that in the actual, coming up at 1 in the mentorship program. Because you're part of the Action family, and I'll be able to go more into depth with you there. Kevin, what's the ratio on an investment property? 75% of the rent. Kevin, that is too much to answer, to be honest with you. There's so much things that you need to look at, and I put it in my cash flow analysis matrix to do that. But if you go to, like, let's say if you're in Canada, the big 5 banks, right? CIBC, RBC, TD Canada Trust, Scotia, and BMO. They will take 50% of the rent, but then they'll take 100% of the expenses and then tell you that your building doesn't make sense. So I don't agree with that, because how can you only take 50% of the income and 100% of the expenses, right? What business is gonna flourish in that? But anyway, Raphael is live. Can you see him?
Yeah, I see him.
Reno's live. Christian is the videographer, the filmmaker, and Raphael used to be here, but Raphael is in Brazil. Raphael. Yes, we will talk about Bitcoin, Raphael. It's up. Your advice paid off. But who was asking that? What's the ratio? So yeah, the ratios, Kevin, are different everywhere. That's why I go through mortgage brokers who actually look at the buildings more in a asset specific, right? Hard money lenders will look at the actual asset itself and what it's doing. Amin, how is real estate in Montreal? Montreal's a hot market as well. We have mentees from Montreal. I think they are buying in different markets, though, to be honest with you. Gilles Lafleur. What was the hockey player? Lafleur? Guy Lafleur. That's what I thought as soon as I saw your name. How do you find deals that are 100% financed with 0% down? You ask, Gil. Like or Gilles or Gil, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but we ask so many times. I get so many no's, but it doesn't stop me. I just continue to ask and continue to try and find deals. Off-market deals is where you're going to have the best bet to actually negotiate with the sellers, but it's a numbers game, right? When I go to the dentist, I'm talking about real estate. When I go to the lawyers, I'm talking about real estate. Anytime I see someone, I'm talking about real estate. So people are always bringing deals. I did a post this morning on Instagram. If you have a deal, if you're a realtor, or if you know of a deal that's coming up, and there's owner financing that the owner is open to holding financing, bring it my way. If you're a realtor, you get to double end it. And if you're not a realtor, hey, I'll pay you a finder's fee, right? Doing things like this is where you find deals. What happened to your TikTok account? I'm live on TikTok right here.
What's wrong with it?
Yeah, what's wrong with it, Clout? I'm 16. Do you have any advice for starting now? Yes, and that's what I was talking about earlier. That's exactly what I was saying to Jacob. Jacob's scenario. Were you here for Jacob's scenario? And then Raphael, let us know about your experience with Bitcoin. Yes, so Raphael, how did I come up with that name for you? I still don't remember. We kind of went through a rabbit hole. But I think, Raphael got me to invest $5,000 in Bitcoin initially. That's how it started. So I invested $5,000, and I think it quickly became like $7,000 or $8,000 in a couple of weeks. So okay, cool. And anyway, now I'm into it for I think like $50,000 or $55,000. It's up today. It's going up. So Raphael, my plan is to, and I don't know. Actually, I'm curious what you're going to think. So I'm $50,000 into it, and I'm up by whatever 20, 25, 30. I forget. Anyway, whatever it is. I think I'm going to pull out the money I put into it, right? Just like with real estate, right? Any money you put into it, whether it's your own or whether it's from an investor, once it goes up, right? Once you have that appreciation, or once you have that new valuation, you refinance. That's what we do with real estate. We pull out the money we put in, whether it's ours or someone else's. We pay it back to ourselves or to the lender that lent it to us. And then the money that's in there is now infinite return on investment. So if I pull out my investment, I still have a big profit. And now if Bitcoin continues to make money, I've just created a income return on investment like I always do with real estate, right? So kind of doing the the same philosophy with the Bitcoin. Lots of questions coming in. I love it. Awesome. And TikTok, if you want your questions answered, come over to the dark side. Come over to YouTube. It's Investor Mel Dave. Oh my gosh, it's 12:21. I forgot I won't be able to pick up that lunch. I should probably ask Tanya to pick it up. Okay. Awesome. Thanks. Yes, Jill. Hello, Dave. I'm a new follower. I'm from South Africa. Do you by any chance know real estate in the market in South Africa? Unfortunately, no. But Cameron, I don't know how this affects you, but one of our new office members has just moved here from South Africa. I feel like, when you start looking into something and then you just keep hearing about it, I feel like South Africa keeps coming up lately. But sorry, I don't understand your market whatsoever. I'm North America knowledge-based. Okay, Jill, good. I'm in. Finder's fee anywhere in the U.S.? Yeah, anywhere. Again, North America, I understand Canada, I understand the U.S. market. And I want to buy so many buildings this year, and seller financing is what I love to use. So yeah, and if I end up buying it, I'm in, and it's a good, again, I want a lot of doors, I want a lot of cash flow, and I want seller financing. Tips on how 14-year-olds should make money. Ben, were you here? No, I wasn't here when you talked to Jacob. Just thinking, just for everyone else, whenever we end this, go watch the video, because I kind of go down a lane of how I would do it if I was starting over. Dave, what type of interest percentage do you come across when you make deals with lenders? Jonathan. All sorts of different ones, Jonathan, and I don't want to narrow it down, and I'll talk about philosophy. I've paid as low as 3%. I'm not going to tell you as high as I've paid, but again, Jonathan, it's more of the mindset. It's more of, I don't even think about the interest that I'm paying. Yes, when I'm looking at my cash flow analysis matrix, obviously I'm thinking, I'm obviously being cognizant of, do you mind asking Tanya if she can go get that? Otherwise, I won't be able to go.
It's Oak Street.
Yes. Oak Street. I ordered lunch, but now I'm here with you guys. I won't be able to go, so I'll have to ask one of the teams if they can go pick it up. Team members, sorry. Look what I do for you guys. Now my team is going to go and go pick something up for me. But that's the joys of being live. But what was I saying with they asked about what type of interest? Yes, Jonathan, the interest. When you're thinking interest, I want you to think bigger picture. Like when I'm looking at a deal, I'm not necessarily looking at like what's the interest I'm paying or what's the purchase price I'm paying. I'm looking at the big picture, right? So in the cash flow analysis matrix, what I do is, yes, the interest is important. Yes, the purchase price is important. But mostly I'm looking at, can I buy this asset with none of my own money, right? Because then I create infinite return on investment. And can I pay people back, right? Because if I can't pay people back, I'm not touching a cent of that money, because that's how people get down a bad road. So I'm more looking at that, Jonathan. I have paid as low as 3%. I won't tell you how high I've gone. Just know it's in the double digits. But yeah, that's kind of what I look at. Does the deal make sense? And when I pay everyone back, even if it was expensive money, when I pay everyone back at the end of the day, I'm going to have a building that I didn't have to pay for. I now have equity into the deal, and I now have infinite return on investment that I'm going to have for the next 20, 30 years before I give it to my kids. So, and Jonathan, I know that I'm not saying you were just focused on that, but that's kind of my mindset when I'm looking at interest in that type of thing. I'm looking at just the bigger picture. Start with a part-time job, Kevin. Can't get part-time job with COVID. Ben, lead generation. I want you to be my mentor. Justin, if you're actually interested, DM us on Instagram. Again, it's always Investor Mel Dave. You're welcome, Jonathan. TikTok, come over to YouTube. I'll answer your questions. Investor Mel Dave. I want you to be my mentor. Yeah, Justin, message us, DM us. Raphael, miss you guys. Raphael, do you miss the snow? There's so much snow here. It's so cold. In Brazil, you don't have that problem. Thanks, boss. Yeah, you're welcome, Ben. Eric, hello from Houston, Texas. I'm new to all this. Could you please point me in the right direction on what videos to watch so I can fully comprehend? Eric, check out our YouTube page. Honestly, we have so much content. Start following us. We give different content in different places, okay? So the people that follow us on TikTok, they get different videos. The people that follow us on LinkedIn, they get different videos. YouTube, we do specific videos. Instagram, we do stories. So Facebook is different. So if you follow us on all social media platforms, you'll get to see a whole different side of Investor Mel Dave, and you'll get different tidbits and nuggets from all the different sites. So I would suggest that to be, and it's free, right? By yourself or go through a real estate agent. Okay, so L1, is it better to get a property by yourself or through a real estate agent? I would say both. Like, honestly, there's no real wrong answer. When I deal with my real estate agents, they know that I'm looking everywhere. They know that sometimes a seller is going to approach me and I'm going to buy the deal directly from them, and they're not insulted. They know that Dave and Mel like to buy buildings, and it doesn't necessarily matter where it comes from, okay? So there's no right or wrong answer. We do all of the above. Thank you, Patricia. If you have 2-year... Patricia, how do I know you? I can't think of that. I feel like... Are you part of the Action family, Patricia? If you have 2-year loan with a private lender and you can pay it off early, do you still pay interest for the 2 years? No. I wouldn't do 2 years of interest. That's over and above. Let's say you might throw a month their way or something like that, but 2 years, unless it's a bank and you're breaking a mortgage and they basically make you pay it, or whatever the penalty is, but I wouldn't pay 2 years of interest on that, Patricia. Hello, I have about $5,000 to invest. Deanna, any suggestions on how to get into it? Purchasing first. Deanna, $5,000. I want people to have at least probably $15,000 to $20,000 minimum before they start diving into real estate investing, because you need that backup money. Even with the way we do it, with none of our own money, with 100% finance, the lawyers still need to get paid, right? The lawyers, the attorneys, land transfer. What if a tenant doesn't pay rent? So I don't want you getting in with absolutely no safety net. Eric, thank you. Daniel, good afternoon. Dave, Jeremy, have you set up seller financing through a seller's agent before? Yes. Found property on MLS, owned free and clear, but can't talk to the seller directly. Yeah, do it through the agent. And if you don't trust the agent to do it, maybe you get an agent. Patricia, yes, I am. Okay. Yes, Patricia, and ask that in the Action family when it comes up at 1, because I'll be able to go more into detail with you. Daniel, I hope you're having an excellent day. Have you traditionally bought on market or off? Obviously both, but what's likely your first stop? How do I say this? I just have people working and helping me all the time. So I'm constantly, like I did today on all the social media platforms, I'm constantly looking for lead gens, right? I'm looking for people to bring deals my way. So I'm getting people to help me. And then the other thing too is I'm also getting agents. Agents are helping me, bringing me deals all the time as well. So that's kind of how I do it. They're both very lucrative and they both work. Thank you for the information. I'll keep saving. Yeah, Deanna, 100%. And this is from someone who does zero down deals, and I'm other people's money all day, every day in my investment. But at least have 10 to 20K, just so that you know if something goes bad, you have some money to get you through. Daniel, excellent. How old were you when you started real estate? What am I? I'm 34 now. I'm 34. I was working at the government at 24. I became a firefighter at 25. So I bought a house before, but it was a house. Like I bought a house, I think at 21 or 22, but I bought it as, I'm going to live in it. And then at 25, I bought a house, and that was, let's say that's my beginning of my real estate investing journey, because that house became a rental after. So that's the first house that I bought that was actually a rental. So I guess 25, let's say. Yeah, but good question. So the crypto, let's get into a little bit of that crypto. So yeah, Bitcoin, I'm up right now. The other day it went down like 8% and I was super bummed out, but now it's up, so I'm happy. It's a very big emotional roller coaster. Like now it just jumped up $500, right? Like that's the thing. You can, like Christian and I have talked before where I tell you the amount, and it's, remember the time like, oh, it's down 2,000.
Yeah.
Like it was just
in like a matter of 20 minutes it was down $2,000. Yeah.
I know it's depressing sometimes, but then it'll go up $3,000.
Then you're in a good mood.
And then you're happy, but then it's Yeah, you have to be emotionally stable if you're gonna buy some crypto or stocks or anything like that. Um, Patricia, should you have the down payment amount secured from private lenders before you place an offer? I'm noticing properties are moving so quickly off market. But yes, Patricia, ask that when we come to the Action family because I've got a whole strategy for you. But I'll be because you're part of the Action family at 1 p.m. when we go live. I'll be able to actually go more into detail with you. I just don't want to. Yeah, the housing market, like we were talking earlier, Christian, we're up 13.8 year over year in November 2020. Remember we were talking about the Canadian housing market? Sorry, I kind of went sideways under there. And then average home price in Ontario alone, CREA anticipates that the average home price will rise by 16.3% this year. Wow.
60 in 1 year.
In 1 year, 16.3%. So, like I'm thinking, as real estate investors, that doesn't scare me. But like Christian just moved to our city, North Bay. Like, would I advise you to buy a house right now? I would say, like, I'm thinking, like, if you would ask me, Dave, should I actually buy a house that I'm going to live in right now? I would say no.
Wait.
Yeah. If it's an income property, totally different. If it's a house to actually live in, like if it's your principal residence, I would wait. Because how much longer can it go, right? Like Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he was predicting a massive burst in 2016. And he says it himself in all his interviews. He could not predict back then when he made that prediction. He couldn't predict that the government was going to quantitative easing, which just basically means keep printing money. So he was predicting, and he's a smart guy, right? He was predicting 2016 there would be a massive global like bubble or whatever you want to say, not pandemic, bubble or
economic meltdown, basically.
There you go. But then the government just kept printing money. So we're 5 years past what this very intelligent guy said. So at some point, right? Like, yeah, it's got to.
I remember hearing something about that. Like, like basically, it's like some people call it like a Frankenstein market where it's being kept alive not because anything's good, just because we keep printing money.
Like, just keep it.
And at one point, that's going to fail. You can't keep printing money hoping the market stays alive. It'll burst. It's going to fail, and it's going to fail spectacularly.
Well, yeah. And again, as a real estate investor, buy and hold, that doesn't worry me because my building is worth a certain amount, and in 30 years from now, it is what it is, right? Okay, so let me take a few questions. One, thank you for the information. How old? Should you? Yes, Patricia, we'll talk about that in the group. Dave, when you ask an agent about a property, what's the information they can provide to you as far as numbers before you go see the property? Yeah, Jonathan, I'll look for the income and expenses, right? The P&L, profit and loss, income and expenses, and then I'll run it in my cash flow matrix. But yeah, I definitely run the numbers before I go see properties. Raphael, 10% up or down on crypto market is a normal day. Yeah, which is just, anyway. Like, see, okay, we stopped talking. I'm down $1,000. It doesn't make sense. See, Raphael, by the time I read your comment, I'm down $1,000. Like, that's crypto. Like, even that stock market, right? Anyway. I'm still up overall, but on my profit, I lost $1,000. Amin, I brought my girlfriend. That's a joke. I brought my girlfriend home. My kids liked her, but my wife didn't. But do you rather buy and sell or rent out? I'm all buy and rent out, 100%. Keep the building. I have sold some buildings, but I don't necessarily. I shouldn't say like it. I like the money that I make, but then the only thing with and this is the thing with people that flip houses. Yes, they make a lot of good money. It's not a reoccurring income. That stream of income doesn't just continue. Like the first of the month was what, 2 days ago? Dave didn't have to go. I'm talking about myself in like the third person. Mel and I didn't have to go buy buildings to get like that. The rents are just coming in, right? Like that's residual income. That's why I like it. If I sell, yes, I get that payday, but now I got to go hustle and bustle and go find another building to buy because how do I keep that payday coming? So that's why I like to buy and hold. Which one of your videos do you recommend to sum up the OPM? Looking to do my first in a month. Christian, yeah, if you can find that.
Sure.
And please, yeah, Chad. And once you watch that one, Chad, honestly, dive down the rabbit hole and just keep watching them because with creative financing and other people's money, it's not just one video, right? You need to understand how to, like you got to put it together like a puzzle. Deanna. So even with my 5 to 10K, you shouldn't buy a house to live in right now. I rent an apartment right now and feel as though I'm throwing away the $1,400 a month. Deanna, how do I say this? I'm I'm pretty I I don't even know what I want to say here. I just want you to look another way. Buying a house, if I didn't have to own the house I lived in, I wouldn't buy it. I wish I could just pay someone rent and then never have to. Boom! It's up $1,000. It's up $900. Anyway, sorry. I wish I didn't have to buy a house. I wish I could just pay rent, and I wish I could sell my house to someone and say, hey, you're gonna make money off me, and I'm gonna keep living here for the next 20 years. And I'm okay, and I know what my mortgage payment was, and I'm paying them over and above what my mortgage payment was. But then I never have to worry. Oh, furnace went out. That's not my problem. Roof needs replacing. Not my problem. The pool pump doesn't work. Not my problem, right? The sink is leaking. Not my problem. Like, I wish I could do that. It's just the where I live, I just can't rent a house like I want. So Deanna, people and think about all that money, right? Like I did my roof last summer. I think it was $40,000 or $30,000 or $40,000. Maybe I'm exaggerating. I don't know. Whatever it is, let's say $30,000. Even if it's $20,000, think of how many months of rent you paid, and I just had to replace a roof, right, and all that other stuff. The furnace breaks. There's $5,000 to $8,000. Like, there's just so many things that I wish I didn't have to. I wish I could just pay a set fee and just be done with it. And people will say, "Well, Dave, in 30 years, your house is going to appreciate and all that." What if it doesn't? And then what if all that money that I paid along the way that doesn't really go into it? Guys, I love how many people are here today. I love if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. It helps us. We love providing content. The other thing too is make sure to hit the bell to get notified. Mel and I go live once a week. Well, minus Mel today, just Mel and Dave and Christian today. You got Christian Otto with me. We go live at least once a week, right, Christian?
Yeah.
And then what? 2 videos a week?
2 videos a week.
2 videos a week. We drop 2 videos a week. Yeah. So yeah, like the page. What am I saying? Mel's gonna be so disappointed in my lingo. Subscribe to the page and hit the bell to get notified. Not like the page. Deanna, okay. Always have to look for houses we need. Always have to look for houses with the need of reform. How will I know it's profitable to buy, invest before I sell it? And that Gaviota, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly. That's why I have my cash flow analysis matrix, right? It allows me to analyze the deal and see if it makes sense. Hello, investor couple. Ibrahim Shah. I am good. How are you? Do you think of owning a construction company in the future? I did have a construction company and I hated it. Mel and I are not ashamed to say that we fail, but when I'm realizing that I'm failing, cut the cord. So Mel and I, it's like a natural progression. You buy buildings, you buy a lot of buildings, you're managing them, then you create a property management company. And let's go down this rabbit hole. You create a property management company, and then you're managing your own. You think, oh, why don't I start managing other people's? This is what happened. Okay, this is literally what happened. And then you're doing renovations in your place. Well, why don't I do renovations in other people's places? Create a construction company. And then it gets so far off of what you actually were doing and what you actually enjoy doing and what you're actually best at. Like the construction company, now I'm managing construction guys, I'm managing construction people and the managers, and it was just so time, and it took me away from buying buildings, which is what I do best. So we realized this is taking too much time for what it's worth. Some jobs we lost money because they quoted wrong, and we thought, you know what, boom, axe it, we're done, no more construction company. Property management company we still have. Recently, we've decided to stop managing other people's buildings. We're only going to manage our buildings. And the owners did nothing wrong, and the owners were great, and it made money. Like, it wasn't a failure. It made good money every month. It's just, again, if I'm going to put hours into something, I need it to be mine. So I put hours into my property management company that manages my buildings only, which helps me get higher evaluations, which helps me pay back the investors that I borrow money from, excuse me, and most importantly, provides my kids with a stable future and generational wealth. So again, sometimes you just get so wrapped up and you kind of veer off the course, right? And I think that was 2019 for Mel and I with the construction company. We did that. We veered off course, but then we were very quick to, Correct. And come back on the road. You know when you're driving on the highway and you're kind of not thinking of something, and then you hit those, what do they call them, the cutouts? Tuk, 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 tuk.
Like divider? No.
Like the in the cement or the pavement, it's kind of
make the little, like,
the divots, or yeah.
Okay.
You go over to the highway and then, brrr, and then you come back over. Anyway, that's what we did with some of that stuff. Cloud, what would you told your 18-year-old self? Whenever this video is done, go back and watch it, because I kind of went on a rant there, and I want to make sure that the other people, understand. Thank you. Would you recommend silver and gold? Now it's getting expensive, right? Or it's starting to. I would. I think about it all the time, but again, I'm a real estate guy. Is your market becoming competitive? You said you've only purchased where you live in Northern Ontario, but now you're looking elsewhere. Joe, the reason I'm looking elsewhere is, yes, my market is becoming more competitive, and I'm probably not helping it by blasting how awesome it is all the time. So I'm probably shooting myself in the foot. But again, like, I'm looking at places in the States, like I'm looking at these different trailer parks, different buildings. Like, they just have these 100-unit buildings there. Like, it's just harder to find here in Canada. So, would you rather invest $15K in stocks or real estate, Kevin? Oh my gosh, real estate all day. Thank you. That was an easy one. That was a layup. How do you do something when it's?
I used to just say it was like a low ball. It was just.
Never heard that one, but cool. Would you recommend invest? Is your market? Hi Dave, I'm new here. Lorena, subscribe and hit the bell to be notified, please. Hi Dave, I'm new here. Do you teach people what you do, or do you invest, or do we invest with you for return on investment? Both. So Lorena, we do have a mentoring program. It's called the Action Mentoring Program. I call it the Action Family. Yeah, we show people how to invest in real estate using none of their own money like we do. So yes, we do have that. If you're interested, DM me on Instagram or wherever else. Investor Mel Dave is our name. And or if you want to say, hey, I don't want to buy buildings, I just want to invest my money with you, we do that as well. So either way, message us. Is I guess what I'm getting at. Should you buy a multifamily in a hot market or buy in another market? To me, it doesn't matter which market. Does the deal make sense? So whether it's a secondary market or hot market, what is the deal doing? Does the deal make sense? That's more important to me than the market and where it's at. We're about to make most world banks go bankrupt if we keep buying silver. I think the, what do you call it? Currency's been in trouble for a while. Well, as soon as they started printing it, like the States just print ridiculously, right? What is Canada up to now? It was
against the greenback.
Well, I know Canada was printing as well, but they were still in the billions. They weren't in the trillions like the States.
So how much money has Canada printed? Like just.
Yeah, there was something I remember hearing, like since COVID, there was something like, I don't know, 200 billion. I forget where I heard this. This was probably about 4 or 5 months ago. So I'm probably very inaccurate with that. My Bitcoin's down from initially when we first started. Now it's down $700. If you could do only one hip hop, if you could only do one, would you buy and sell or buy and rent? Buy and rent, because again, the buy and sell is money now, yes, and it's nice, but I want that money coming in every month, right? And that's what we've done now with all our buildings. We've created generational wealth. Excuse me. So one day, what was I going to say? One day when I don't want to work anymore, which I doubt, I love what I do. I'd be bored out of my mind if I wasn't, kind of hustling, bustling in real estate every day. But I could just walk away and my portfolio continues to, I have to hire a team to manage it because I'm not here, which we already do have a team, but I could walk away from it. And again, those rent payments come in every month and all that. The mortgage gets paid down. I refinance. There's money from that. If I do sell, there's money from that. So real estate, I just love it. Because of the pandemic and the rise of e-commerce, what do you think will happen to the empty high street shops, banks, etc.? Yeah, no, there's definitely going to be a changeover. And I do have commercial units, not going to lie. I think I have 30 or 40 commercial units now in our 200 plus portfolio. But every single commercial building that I buy has apartments in there that anchor the building. And what I mean by that is the commercial tenants, if they move, the building still makes sense. Would you suggest international student investing in stocks at initial, as students can't buy properties before becoming a resident? So should we invest in stocks or save money for real estate investing? So I think we've talked before, Sukumrit, is you don't have to be a resident of Canada to buy real estate here, right? Because even people that are here, even when they don't have their PR, their permanent residence, you can still buy. It's just going to be more expensive for you. It's just, and what I mean by that is maybe your loans will be more expensive because you're not a resident, and then maybe they won't give you as high of a loan to value. So, but you can definitely do it. Even people that went bankrupt or don't have their PR, they can still do it. It's just going to be more expensive. All right. I think I heard lunch get here, and I can hear my stomach. So guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up again. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to get notified. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you, TikTok. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Bitcoin. It's only down 200 now. But since we started the show. So yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate you showing up. If you have any other questions or anything else, DM us. Yeah, Jonathan, for sure. DM us on our other social media platforms. Yeah. See you soon, Dave. Yeah, Brian's part of the Action family. I'll see you in 15. I'm going to be full when I see you. I'm going to go eat a Caesar salad. Okay, bye, guys.